to any younger trans person out there, I would say just hold tight. You know who you are. It really does get better. The real world, I promise, when you click off that phone, that tablet, and you enter the real world, I'm not talking about schools, I'm talking about real people, it's fine. It's absolutely fine.
Order! Order! With order!
Hello and welcome to Not to Get Political, the podcast where we delve into the world of politics and hope to remain unscathed. Today I'm joined by Fizz Sinclair, drag artist and actress from London. Fizz, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I just do want to issue an apology to our viewers because I said on our episode with Pete Rugman that today was the wettest day that we've recorded, and I lied. Like, today is definitely like the windiest, wettiest day. How have you coped with that?
The wettest day?
Yeah, I would say today feels like when I see the rain going vertical.
Yeah.
That's when
I often have that effect on the days. They do become quite wet when I'm involved. Yeah.
So
you just brought that on yourself.
Yeah, no, I have. So let's start kind of from the beginning. How did you get to where you are today?
With like my career.
Career, yeah, we'll start with career.
Career. Oh God. So when I was 18,
Yeah.
I decided I wanted to pursue performance and acting like professionally. I'm originally a northerner, so I grew up in Cheshire, and then I secured a place at the London College of Music.
Nice.
I went to drama school for 3 years. I did musical theatre, and then I graduated. I got an agent, and the rest is history.
So what have you been in? So what's your highlight reel looking like?
I would say predominantly it was musical theatre.
Okay.
So I'd done like lots of sort of like fringy musicals. And then I fell into the world of sketch comedy,
Right.
where I really began to like cut my teeth in comedy and really like find out like more about myself as a performer. So I was in the sketch comedy scene for a few years. I was writing political satire.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I went to the Ed Fringe. It was with a show called News Review. It's absolutely amazing. The pandemic hit.
Yeah.
I was left jobless. And then from there, I discovered drag and entered into the world of drag. And I've been doing drag and performance and acting and everything all kind of combined.
And so how were you sort of developing that medium? Was it on TikTok or was it just on sort of social media? How were you doing it?
Yeah. So, I mean, TikTok was when the pandemic was when TikTok really started to like...
You either got COVID or you got TikTok.
Right.
I got both.
Got trans, right? Which is what happened to me.
Oh, wow.
I came out of the pandemic with a cough and a pair of boobs. Like, that was one.
You know, there's some anti-vaxxer like writing this down. Is like, fucking soldier, fucking soldier.
Yeah, it's true. So then basically before the pandemic, I was doing sketch comedy live, and then I was sat at home like twiddling my thumbs, and I was like, where can I put these sketches? And then I came across TikTok, and I started to just put them then online. At the time, like my TikTok started to get numbers. I had a few videos that went viral.
What kind of videos were those?
They were just like sketch comedy, like funny bit. They don't exist on my account anymore.
Right.
Because then I came out as trans, and like looking back on the videos, I was like, I can't.
Wait, so how come? Was it just...
It was like, it's really strange. Like I was seeing myself in the middle of the pandemic, and like I could just see that I was like trying to come to terms with something, and I could just see that I wasn't happy.
Okay.
And I think I was like reaching for validation through likes and numbers on TikTok, and I was getting them because I was getting millions of views on some of my videos. And so it's very strange now to be very happy and centered and feel good in where I am.
Because I can imagine being trans, especially in the current political climate, as you've said, it's only really been like 3 years that you've been trans. That must be an awful time, really, to sort of come to terms with who you are and sort of deal with that. What's that been like? If you don't mind me asking.
Oh my God, no, ask away. I'm an open book. Yeah, it's been I think in terms of like, for me, there's two sides to this. Politically, it feels like every day the government are using trans people as a scapegoat and this thing to sort of like call attention to as though it's this huge issue, when, like, as we know, it's like what, like 0.1% of the population.
0.5% of the population, which is like 262,000 people. So
Which is like not that many people. But that aside, like the government aside, in my day-to-day life, in my working life, in my professional life, I've never felt better. We were saying this before this interview started, but like I'll walk around the streets of London and no one cares. Nobody cares. And if anyone does know me or acknowledge me, or, you know, I'm speaking to anyone, they're lovely and pleasant and nice. And like, it's like the government, I think it was Eddie Izzard, she was saying about how the government's trying to invoke this like culture war, but there truly isn't one. People don't care. And those that do, it's a very small amount of people that are hyping up this non-issue, and they just happen to have very loud voices. But everyone else, it's fine.
Because I've seen YouGov polling that basically suggests most people just like, okay, all right. Okay, I don't really give a monkeys, to be honest.
Yeah.
But then I look on social media, which obviously isn't the best way of indicating how things really are. But then I see on like when Rishi Sunak did his "man is a man, woman is a woman" speech, and I flick through the comments, and I'm seeing people that I know, and I'm there like, okay, all right, we're not gonna be friends anymore. I'm not really like that. But it's just like, I don't know. I guess as a sort of as a trans person seeing that, you must think like, what the fuck's going on?
Yes and no. Like, because I've come from a world of sketch comedy.
Okay.
If I'm seeing anyone that's making what they think is a very original, very hilarious joke, I've probably already made 4 of them in my own head, and I've made an even funnier one. So like, if I go on live on TikTok or something, constantly I'll get someone be like, you're right fella, you're right bloke, you're right lad, and I'm like, do you how thin do you think my skin is? Like,
I guess being a drag queen, you have to be like,
right,
and especially in performing arts as well, because it's a dog eats dog world.
I
remember
100%.
doing it. That's why I don't do it anymore. That's why I do this. It's just easier. It's definitely.
But like, I'm just, it's the fact that people think you're going to be really, really bothered by it, but no, stuff like that I'm not bothered by, because, and the fact of the matter is, I never get comments like this in public, and if I do, it's like 1 in 1,000. And so I'm like, this online persona that someone's going to take on, where they're thinking they're going to ruin my day because they've called me a bloke. I'm like, hun, I've just made that joke with my boyfriend this morning. Like,
I guess, that is the thing, like with the way that people behave online. Like, I remember when I started producing content on TikTok, and I remember like the first day I was like, oh my God, people are so mean.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the week, I was like,
yeah.
I know I've got curly hair. It looks good.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to do about it? I'm not shaving it off again. Like, I'm keeping it. And I guess, the keyboard warriors. You got to love them though. I keep some of them as pets.
Yeah.
I like them. It's like, I keep you because I like you.
I
and
love
it's like,
that.
And you're just like, you entertain me throughout my day. I screenshot the best one, send it. My favorite is like when it's like, oh, I hope she sees this. So just like screenshot it, send it to random women I know. Like they want you to see that apparently. Like for some reason, send it to my mum. See what she says.
I love that. But then also, like, what I don't think a lot of them realize is like, the more engagement you get as a creator, like you're doing me a favor.
Yeah.
Even if you're commenting, hey, you're just boosting my profile.
Like you're quote tweeting me into employment.
Right.
And like, I love it. I think it's great. It's doing well. Obviously for a lot of our listeners are fairly young, and I imagine quite a few of them are possibly trans. What advice do you have to like young trans people at the moment?
It's a tricky one, because I wasn't a young trans person so I came out as gay when I was 13, and that was in 2007, I think, 2006. I'm nearly 29, okay?
Young.
Yeah.
Well, I'm 23, so.
Yeah. And I remember at that time, there was huge, like, movements to be like, some people are gay, get over it. And it was almost like the controversial thing at that time was being gay.
Yeah.
Whereas now we've come on, I guess, in some ways, and it's being trans. I would say I was told when I was young that I couldn't know at that age, that I was confused, that I I was just too young to know. But I always knew who I was. And even now when I look back at the age of 13, 14, when I was in nursery and they were, putting on the nativity, I got told I had to play the part of Joseph, right? And I hated that. I'm like, what, 4, 5 at that age? And I cried and cried and cried because I wanted to play an angel and wear a dress like the rest of the girls. And I cried that much that a member of my family went down to the nursery and they were like, this child needs to put on a dress. You're telling me that isn't a clear sign that like I knew who I was in my earliest development stages. So I guess to any younger trans person out there, I would say just hold tight. You know who you are. It really does get better. The real world, I promise, when you click off that phone, that tablet, and you enter the real world, I'm not talking about schools, I'm talking about real people, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. There is communities of people that are waiting for you to welcome you and love you. And like where you are right now as a young trans person, it might be different and weird and you might feel like the odd one out. Where I'm from, the people I hang around with, most of us are trans. It's not my unique trait because most of my friends are trans girls or trans boys or trans people, Hang in there. It will be okay. Don't listen to this government. They're so stupid.
It's a bit political.
Yeah. I'll say it again.
Yeah.
Ba.
That audition tactic of crying to get a part you want, bring your mum along, bring one of your relatives along. Do you still do that now?
What, crying to what?
When you want to get, if you're going for a part, and there's a part that you really want, putting on a bit of emotion and getting a relative now, like, she needs this.
Babe, I wish that would work. Imagine if I could just like cry to a casting director and be like, please.
Casting directors are ruthless though. I remember like going up in front of some of them when I was younger doing the National Youth Theatre.
Yeah.
And like you feel like they're interested, but then you're like 14 years old and you're like, you're not picking me. I know that full well. I've accepted that.
Oh my God, I've had more no's in my lifetime than
how do you deal with that? I guess as a performer, because that must be tough.
It can be tough. I think it's just separating the art from yourself, like knowing that like, okay, if the art or the work that I'm producing is trash, it doesn't mean I'm trash. Yeah. Sometimes it does. I think, and it's just been like, so I graduated in 2017. So I've not been at it for a lifetime. I'm not, like an old hand in this game really. But yeah, it's just separating art from oneself. And I would say that to any creator as well. Anyone that's doing anything that requires someone to go, that's good. If you're not getting, that's good. Whether it be likes, a yes for an audition, whatever. It doesn't mean that you're a piece of shit. You're not. Like, it just means that what you're doing, it might not be quite there yet, and just keep working at it, I guess.
So you mentioned that you did sort of political satire. What kind of political satire were you doing?
I've played like Theresa May. I've played Boris Johnson. It was news review. It's a musical comedy sketch show.
Right.
I think this is back in like 2019. At that time, it was the world's longest running musical comedy sketch show.
Oh, right. Okay.
So think like Saturday Night Live.
Right.
Meets Mock the Week.
Okay.
Meets like musical review jingles.
Okay, right.
And basically it's like 60-minute comedy sketch show of like breakneck speed sketch scenes that are based on that week's news. And so
okay, all right, that sounds really good then.
It's really fun. And every week I would have to, when you're part of the cast, you have to write the show for the coming weekend. So it's like a new show every week.
Right.
And it's all about like, doing impressions and...
Can we get a Theresa May impression?
So when I was Theresa May, I used to make her sound very kind of croaky like that.
Can you do what's it? Serving the country I love.
Serving the country I love.
And was it Boris Johnson you did as well?
I did a bit of Boris, yeah.
No,
No!
Because we had someone do it the other week, and they were really good. I want to see whether it matches up.
Let me think. Right, wait. I can't. Right, okay. Let me think of how he sounds.
I'm pretty sure he sounded like that when he was delivering speeches about Ukraine. So,
yeah,
try
to subtitle that one.
Actually, one of the things we wanted you to do, seeing as you're in drag, is that we made up some photos of politicians in drag, and we'd like you to name them.
Right.
So we'll start off first with Leader of the Opposition, Keir Starmer. Here we go. What are we saying?
Girl.
We'll just show the camera, but we'll show you'll see it on the screen.
Wow. Can I get a closer look?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. She has a strong jawline,
That's what I thought.
I'm not one to talk. Okay, so it's giving pink. It's giving, as in the colour pink, but also kind of giving pink as well.
Yeah.
It's also giving a bit of Jake Shears. Keir Starmer, Jake Shears. Okay. I'm just going to give her a standard drag name. Last name, Dupremises. First name, Facate.
Vacate the premises.
Yes!
Okay, all right, that.
But also, I feel like that kind of works because she's trying to get the people out of the house at the moment in the parliament. I'm very
Number
good at
10.
politics.
Yeah. I rate that. Okay, I like that. Next one is someone you just did an impression of, Boris Johnson.
Wow. Okay.
I think that she looks like Grayson Perry.
She is giving Grayson Perry.
That's why.
She's rough. Okay, let's think about Boris Johnson. Give me some things that Boris Johnson did.
Well, there was Partygate, Ukraine, the Pincher scandal. Though I feel like that probably seems inappropriate to joke about. I'm trying to think what else.
Partygate.
Well, there's lying, I suppose. There was all the lying, the habitual lying.
Oh, I know.
Go on.
Kerry Corona.
Kerry Corona.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
We love her.
Yeah. No, I love her. I think I'll rate that.
I'm not joking about coronavirus. I just want to make that clear before anyone comes for me in the comments. I'm not joking about. I'm joking about how Boris dealt with coronavirus. As long as we're all on the same page.
I'm sure. No, you know what? You'll be cancelled by the end of this session.
And
then we're going to go across the pond to his truly, Mr. Donald Trump.
Yep.
What are we saying?
I mean, I feel like there is a drag queen that exists, I think, called Donna Trump.
Really?
Yeah. Does she? I think she
I don't know.
Exist.
My drag knowledge is probably around maybe 2017 RuPaul's Drag Race, and then like anything beyond that, I'm like, you lost me. I don't know.
There's more to the world than RuPaul's Drag Race.
Okay, yeah.
Let me that if there's anything that anyone takes away from this episode, let it be that. Okay, Donna Trump. What about
something about a wall, an insurrection, Jan the 6th.
Ooh, what about erect a wall?
Okay, all right, yeah.
Erect a wall.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, no, I see that. I see that. I can't think of anyone better, to be honest. Erector.
Miss Wall.
Miss Wall.
Miss Erector Wall.
Miss Erector. Yeah, perfect.
I like her. I don't.
You don't know.
Also, I just want to say that I don't think any of these politicians should ever they're not worthy enough to do drag.
What makes someone worthy to do drag?
Someone that's like creative, intelligent. Drag queens are usually the people that are at the forefront of arguments, being like, this is what we need to better our society. And it's like you'll see in any like pride protest, anything else, the people that are at the front are always like the trans people and the drag queens.
And then this one seems most fitting. Mr. Man is a man, woman is a woman. Mr. 5'7". I keep bringing up his height.
I'm taller than the Prime Minister. No wonder he hates trans people.
Rishi Sunak, what are we saying?
Let me see.
Scroll through.
Oh, wow. Okay, there's a few looks here. Jesus Christ. Do you know, I'm really sorry to say this, but it's kind of giving like Legally Blonde in that. So sorry, Reese Witherspoon.
I'm sure.
Also kind of looks like Anne Hathaway. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
really? How?
I dreamed a dream.
Okay.
Right, okay. I'm going to call her Paula de Ladderup. Paula de Ladderup.
Okay, I get it.
Do we get it?
I get it.
She's pulling the ladder up.
I hope the audience like that one, because I certainly do.
Paula de Ladderup.
Paula de Ladderup.
That's her, definitely.
I love it. It's beautiful.
I remember thinking he was one of the people who were involved in like the Tories that I was like, he's not the villain right now. Like, I remember some of the things he was doing. I was like, it's not like hellish like what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I think somewhere along the line, he's just like got worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, do you actually believe what you're saying? Or are you
This
just
is the
trying to
thing.
rev
This is
up?
the thing with a lot of them, and I find myself questioning that as well. I think
Yeah.
for someone like Suella Braverman, for example, I mean, does she believe the things that she's talking about? I think deep down, probably yes. And I think part of it is also knowing who sort of the Conservative Party voter base is, for example. I've spoken about this in videos. We're talking about, particularly the party membership, for example, they are predominantly older blokes, extremely right-wing,
Yeah.
predominantly white,
Yeah.
who want to say the type of things that Suella Braverman says, but knows that their complexion provides a bit of a barrier. And basically, Suella is seen to be able to say those things, and so she can say them and basically reinforce their view of the world. And then someday that they will reward her with the Conservative Party leadership.
But then, like, if we look at just sort of political history,
Yeah.
I can't think of one political leader, dictator, anyone who's ever like taken a minority group and oppressed them more, who historically then afterwards we've gone, work. You really did that there.
Yeah.
Like, it never goes down well in history. So if you're going to be a person that's going to be on these platforms and be potentially leading countries, and all of a sudden you're like, bright idea, why don't we just oppress this really small group of people even more? You're going to be hated in like 10, 20 years. Like and that will be the thing that you're going to be remembered for. Rishi Sunak now, he's going to be remembered as the guy that started to call out trans people. That's going to be on his name forever.
Yeah.
He's got to live with that.
What's Liz Truss's legacy?
Who? But well,
Yeah, no, don't worry. I was like that as well. Yeah,
yeah, no, that was a joke.
Yeah.
That was a rich
Yeah.
joke I did there. That was
No.
comedy.
Acting,
Yeah.
comedy. Yeah. What is it like in the comedy scene at the moment? Because I feel like with comedy, it's kind of going through a weird period where there's like a lot of emphasis on like edgy, dark comedy to the point where it's like, that was shit. Like Jimmy Carr, for example.
Yeah.
I feel like he prefaces a lot of his sections like, these are really dark, edgy jokes. And they're
Yeah.
like, nah, they're just shit, Jimmy. Like, they're just not funny.
So, right, here's my thing. I could talk about this for a long time.
No, please do.
Anyone who, comedy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Anyone who thinks that making jokes about race, punching down at someone's race, gender, sexual orientation, ability, disability, anything like that. If you're making jokes like that in 2023 and you think that that's original and cutting edge and funny, it just isn't. It just isn't. Not even one, it's offensive, but also it's tired. It's so boring and so dull. Like, make something fresh, make something innovative. I see so many comedians nowadays, usually women, who are making fantastic comedy, and it's just not that. Like, think outside the box. There was a comedian that did this whole bit. Is it James?
Acaster?
Yes.
Yeah,
And he's
I
got
love
this
him.
whole bit that's like, I know what we can do. Why don't we focus on bullying the trans people? Hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, comedy can be funny without being deeply offensive.
But why do you think that is an avenue that people go down? Is it because there's always going to be a market for it and it's a good way of building up a profile?
I think it's a load of things. Like, comedy usually is just like, I think traditionally have been like making fun of something that people have seen as like ugly or wrong or like whatever, or like saying something that's like out there. But yeah, I do also think that people now, we're in this really scary place where, like, if I wanted to get a load of views online, if I really wanted to like just launch myself into a spotlight, all I would have to do is just say something absolutely vile, disgusting, and offend a load of people, and that would transport me into views.
Yeah. GB News segment. I heard they're looking for people after they got rid of Lawrence Fox. So,
Wow.
yeah, you know, Dan Wootton as
I'm
well.
actually-
Or Martin Branning, as he's, I believe, known as well.
Wow.
So,
But that, like, Lawrence Fox is a great example of that. And you can see how quickly, like, trolling online can become, like, addictive, because you just say something vile and all of a sudden you've just got, like, loads of people giving you attention. scary.
So do you think that right-wing comedy is possible? Because I feel like a lot of the
No.
sort of, no. Okay. Let's elaborate.
And
Why?
that's how that. And we're concluding the podcast. No. But what would that even mean?
Well, I mean, this is what I've wondered, because I feel like, particularly, say with like the BBC, for example, they often get, one of their big criticisms, like a lot of their comedy shows are sort of left wing, for example. Have I Got News for You often gets cited. Is it the Niche Report, the MASH Report, something like that, when that was around? Mock the Week, though, that was no longer a thing. A lot of the criticism is always, well, you know, these are left-wing sort of comedy shows. There's nothing like right-wing, for example.
Yeah.
Do you think that's just because of the way that like political comedy, for example, is set up? It's designed to cater to more a left-wing audience because of the certain issues that are being discussed?
I don't think so. When I was involved in like political comedy, we really would try to make a point of not just poking fun at right-wing audiences, because it just gets boring. If you're going to watch an hour of someone just like take the piss out of Tories consistently, it's just like, oh. What you've got to remember is like, how long have the Tories been in government now? Is it
13 years, yeah.
13. I mean, comedy is like, if any comedian's trying to do something successfully, you want to punch up, not down. They're the people that are up right now. They're just in power. So, I mean, they're just taking the piss out of the people that are running the country. I'm more than happy to joke about like left-leaning things and, you know, stuff like that. Like, I think it's all...
What's something that you find really funny about the left? Like, just one thing.
Where are they right now? Do you know what I mean? Where is the Labour Party aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're currently, well, if you look at the situation with Israel and Palestine, they're currently siding with sort of we'll call it what it is, a genocide of Palestinians.
Yeah. But like, if you look at like the trans issues and everything that's been going on, they're supposed to be the opposition. I feel like Keir Starmer's just trying to kind of make the left party more centrist, but by doing so he's becoming like kind of, in my opinion, like centre right, and then the Tory party are just becoming like far right, and so everything's just tilting.
The Overton window sort of shifting more to the right. I made a sort of with HS2, for example, it's like, you know, Keir Starmer wouldn't get a bag of chips for the office, and the fears that like he'd get called fiscally unresponsible or something like that. It's just like, I've had enough. Fizz, thank you so much for coming on. I've really enjoyed it. Is there anything that you'd like to promote?
Yes, actually. You can follow me on my Instagram at Fizz Sinclair. You can follow me on my TikTok, which is also at Fizz Sinclair. And that is everything. Thank you. I don't actually have anything. Well, I've been commissioned to write something.
Oh, yeah? In what?
It will be a show. It's going to potentially come out in 2024, and it's going to be musical. It's going to be drag. It's going to be a cast of at least 5 people. Watch this space.
Sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing it.
Me too.
I better be there on the press night. That's all I'm saying. I love me a press night now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. I really enjoyed it. And we'll see you for the next episode. Thank you.